Okay, hello and welcome to the Wildlife Moto channel. So today I thought I'd put the camera on and have a go at rebuilding the fuel taps on the 1981 BMW R100 CS. You know, rebuilding these bikes, it's not always about the big ticket items. Sometimes it's just these little bits and pieces that we have to get sorted as well. And I've got to be honest, I've never done this before. I've absolutely no idea what I'm going to find in here. There's a thing. So I guess the way that these work is we've got a couple of straws here, or reeds, or whatever they're called. A longer one, which I'm guessing is where it's going to draw fuel. Oh God, that's tight. That doesn't feel quite right, does it? Probably going to draw fuel from the on position. That's our off position. And then I guess the shorter hose, a little straw thing, is in play when we're on reserve mode. But that, yeah, that feels, I don't remember it being that tight. God. All right, well, we'll see what's going on in there. This one looks a little different. Obviously different reeds and feels a lot looser. So, yeah, we'll give it a shot. We'll take them apart. What I've got is a full rebuild kit. So these normally have like a little, this gauze thing that goes over the top there. So we've got two new ones of those. And then we've got a bunch of O-rings. There's the main kind of seal that goes inside the mechanism there. And then I'm guessing those two are a replacement for this, although that one doesn't seem to have one. And then we've got two little meshes that go somewhere inside here, I think on this nozzle section here. So, first time doing this. Let's crack it open and see what's inside here. Where should we start? Well, let's see if we can pull this little dial off to start with. Okay. That's actually not exactly what I was expecting. I was expecting to have a little bit where I could get my pliers in there. Then we've got this nozzle here, so we'll try and remove this. I think I'm going to need two spanners. Yikes! Well, the straw's come off. Oh, and there's no little additional filter thing inside there at all. Very strange. Right, now we've got to try and figure out how to get inside here so we can have a look at the O-ring and the little sealing washer inside here. It's going to be a job for the mole grips. Oh, it's actually pretty loose. Thankfully it's got these little teeth which the mole grips can get into. You want to come off as well? Fine, fair enough. And it feels like, is this sprung? Feels like there's some tension here. Whoa! Yeah, it's definitely, oh my goodness. It definitely is a springy thing there. So what have we got in here? A seal, which actually doesn't look too horrendous. And there's an O-ring here. And a whole bunch of washers and things. I try to remember what order these came out in. So that goes on there. Then our spring. Then we've got this one here, which has got some dimples in it and a little keyway. So that was next. Then another one, which has got an opposite kind of little keyway cut in it, which goes on top of that. And then we've got this face here. And then there's an O-ring in here. Let's see if we can fish it out with this. Okay. And that's our O-ring. There's a little channel in here, which I guess feeds fuel from the central port out to the channel, and then it depends what orientation that's in terms of whether it's lined up with a hole or not. It actually looks pretty good, I've got to be honest. Yeah, it looks okay, doesn't it? No kind of major wear on it. It's all right. So maybe someone's been in here recently and done this already, but you just don't know, do you? That's the thing. You've got a 42-year-old bike. You never know what kind of state it's going to be in. I think before we do this, it's probably going to be worth just cleaning up all these parts just to get them as good as they can be. Right, what I'm going to do on this surface here is I'm just going to give that a bit of a polishing as well. Just because this is our kind of sealing surface for the rubber washer. You can go a little further just to try and clean up any of those little marks on it. All right, so that's everything cleaned up, and all we've got to do now is put it back together with some of the new seals and all that kind of good stuff. Now, hopefully I can remember how this all actually goes back together, but just a quick reminder. So this is the main body here, and we have our little nozzle that goes on there, secured by this nut. Then we've got this washer, which we're going to replace, which will go in here. A stack of these kind of dimpled washers here, a little spring. We've got to replace this O-ring. Yeah, how hard can it be? So actually for this O-ring, what we'll do is we'll just put a bit of petroleum jelly on that. Just going to lubricate it up a little bit. Beautiful. And that will just go in on here. As you can see, I've also just polished up the surface of this just so it has got as good a chance as possible of sealing against that rubber washer. Right, so that's our O-ring in. Then what we'll do is we'll put our new rubber washer in here. So you can actually buy full rebuild kits for these. A full replacement, if you wanted to replace the whole thing, is going to cost something like £40 or something like that. But what I'll also do is I'll also put a bit of petroleum jelly just on the outer face of this. So that's where it's going to glide up against the little arm. It just kind of sits on those little dimples in there. If it's worth putting just a little bit of grease on there. Then we've got our washer stack, and I think what I'm going to do is put some grease on those as well. How much grease? Don't need that much. Get you kind of greased up. So I'll put a bit on the spring as well. Just a little bit on the seat around here. Now, first little washer we're going to drop down here is this one, because that's got a little keyway cutout. So you sit in that little groove like that. Then we've got this one. So it'd be dimples down, so that it engages that one, and then that little cutout's gonna sit in the housing there. And then our spring goes on like so. And then this is going to be fun, isn't it? Get you down over the top. Now here is where we have to fight it. So we've got to kind of compress this spring whilst manoeuvring this over the bend in the arm. That's fun. I wonder if it's easier to do it when it's out. Go on. Let's put the spring into the cap first. See if it will all slide on as one. Yeah, that's better. Whoa. Okay, now when I push this whole assembly back in here, we've got to make sure that little key lines up there like that. And then see if with my greasy fingers, which isn't helping at all, we can get that thread engaged, which is going to be a ton of fun. Oh man. I think we've done it. We're engaged. Oh my goodness, that was not fun. Oh, that feels nice. Nice proper movement. We did not have that before. Oh, that feels good. Oh, thank God for that. I was definitely worried about getting that threaded back on there. It's literally only a couple of threads, but that spring's got some force in it. So yeah, we'll just get the old moleys back on that. There you go, and that's seated. The next thing to do is to figure out if this will take this little gauze here. So I'm assuming, let's assume, shall we? It's always a good thing to do. That will just sit in there. I mean, it's just a secondary system, just to provide a little bit of belt and braces, because we've got the main gauze that goes on top. Seems happy enough in there. I believe this one's reserve. Be careful not to break those. And you've got our new little crush washer thing that goes on top like that. Oh, these are the opposite way, aren't they? So it's thread on like that. All seems to be working beautifully, and that action is nice. Yeah. Nice and positive. So we'll leave it on there for now, but make sure we don't lose that. Perfect. Okay, well, we have another one to do. This one does look like it's a little different in its design, actually. So let's get stuck into this one. I don't think it's going to be identical to the one we've got, if I'm being honest. But let's crack into it and see what's going on. All right, okay, straight away it is different because we have a slightly different mechanism to open it with. These are just circlip plier things. I think this will, again with this one, I'm not feeling any like dimple movement, not like our new one, so there's nice clicks, so hopefully we can restore that a little bit. Maybe the washer's just slipped or something, I don't know, but let's get this undone. Hopefully there's no more horrible springs to deal with. I think this design is slightly different. Okay. So we have this. Ooh, that looks a bit dirty. And then we've got a wave washer, which didn't have any other one. This looks a little older. I wonder if this is original. Oh, okay. Now this is why we check these things. This is why it's a good idea to get in there and check these things. Okay, so just going to rebuild that washer stack like that. So that one there like that. That one there like that. So that's how those go. This was definitely worth getting into. Whilst the other one was, this one was pretty good condition. So I don't know if this one was slightly newer, but let's have a look at this. Oh, yucky, yucky. All right, so that's definitely seen better days. It's actually got a hole in it. It's pretty rotten, and yeah, that could probably leak quite badly. And yeah, that O-ring is also not in the best condition. It's all right, it's not terrible. So yeah, definitely a bit of a different story inside this one. It's yeah, it's seen better days. So what we'll do is we'll clean it out. Let's also just have a look at what's going on inside here as well. Oh, a bit easier than the last one. There is an extra gauze in this one. Not terrible condition. I don't know if those straws come out like the other ones did. But yeah, we'll give it a clean and we'll get it ready for reassembly. Okay, so that's pretty much us ready for reassembly. We've got our new seal, our new mesh, and our new O-ring. So, similar to before. Put a bit of petroleum jelly on the O-ring, just to help it slip into place. Then the rubber washer here, but we'll put some petroleum jelly just on the top surface there. So that's where it slides against the little base of the arm. So that goes in there like that. Put a little bit of this on there as well. So you go in there like that. And on the top side of this, we'll just put a little bit of grease. Just on that seat. What a mess I'm making. Just want to grease the seat. So yeah, I'll drop that back in there like that. Some grease on here. And there's a little groove in there, so that's going to sit down on that little groove in there. There you are. And this one. Some grease on you. You're going to sit over there like that. Bit more grease in there. Our wave washer goes on top like that. Oh man, this is a nicer one to work with than the other one. I'll tell you that much. I'll tighten this up. And hopefully we'll get that nice positive action back. I can feel it already. That's it. So that's our old gauze there. That's all our old stuff there. So, oh, we've got a little bit crushed. Same deal. Stick you on there. Goes in there like that. Make sure it's all straight, which it is. Right, just cinch it up. It goes on there. Then we've got our nut, which goes on the opposite way around. And then eventually we will have our gauze, which goes on over the top like that, and that will get clamped against the fuel tank. So I think, oh, one more thing to do. Let's pop this back on. That feels really good. Perfect. So that is our two fuel taps rebuilt, and this is what came out of them. On one side, a particularly nasty seal. I'm guessing that's kind of original. And on the other side, actually not looking quite so bad. But one side, I don't think had one of these little crushy washer things at the top. One side didn't have a gauze. I'm still not sure whether this should have had a wave washer in the stack as well, like this one did, but we'll see. But yeah, the actions on them feel really nice and positive. Yeah, there you go. So the fuel taps are done. Slightly boring job, but like all these things, sometimes it's not about the glamorous stuff. Sometimes you just got to get stuck in to the little bits and pieces. So happy that that's done, and hopefully they're still up okay.